Hey guys, what's up? Wish it still wasn't Sunday. Alright, so, sorry I couldn't do this yesterday. There's no signal out in the country. But anyway, apparently people are just confused, or I'm not really sure what people's deal is. I had mixed comments. Either people didn't watch the entire video or they just like to post random crap. So this is not racist. When you are calling out a member of Congress for being here illegally, lying about pretty much her entire life, not even her real name. I don't care what color their skin is. People, you need to just, I'm sure it's not I know it's not my normal watchers. But people will come to this video and just automatically put that. Get over the racist nonsense. That's not what it's about. I'll call out anybody. I mean, just go to my old videos. I've called out many white people. The corruption needs to end. Anyway, let's get on with it. So, there was a intense report, investigative columns in 4 intensively reported investigation columns. There have been some crazy information that has come out. So Ilhan Omar, not even her actual name. This is really confusing, y'all, because let's just go ahead and look at this. Because this breaks it down. She's not even part of the Omar family. Her father was, what the hell? How did that even pop up? Was a genocidal maniac, apparently. Can't even really see that. That's not even big. What the heck? I'm so prepared. Here, I think it's better on the Gateway Pundit. But, so the Omar family changed their name in order to enter the United States. Now, let me say, she was a child when she entered the U.S., so I'm not faulting her for that part. That I will give her. But when you decide to run for Congress and you still lie about it, that's when you need to take responsibility for it. And you did marry your brother when you were an adult, so that's just weird in itself. In 1995, Ilhan entered the United States as a fraudulent member of the Omar family. That is not her family. The Omar family is a second unrelated family, which is they were being granted asylum by the United States. The Omars allowed Ilhan and her genetic sister Sahara and her genetic father Nur Saeed. Now I'm probably going to get a lot of these names wrong. Sorry. To use false names to apply for asylum as members of the Omar family. Ilhan's genetic family split up at this time. The above 3 received asylum in the United States, while Ilhan's 3 other siblings, using their real names, managed to get asylum in the United Kingdom. Ilhan Abdullah Omar's name before applying for asylum was Ilhan Nur Saeed Elmi. Her father's name before applying for asylum was Nur Saeed Al-Amin Mohammed. See, in what they do in those countries, they take the father's name and like the mother's name, kind of like how Hispanics, they sometimes take the last name of both parents and then use it as like their middle and last name. But her sister Sahir Nawar, golly, I probably sound like I can't read here. Name before applying for asylum was Sahir Nawar Saeed Elmi. Her 3 siblings who were granted asylum by the United Kingdom are Leah Nur Saeed Elmi, Mohammed Nur Saeed Elmi, and Ahmed Oh my God. Noor Saeed Elmi. Well, that's interesting because that's exactly who she married. So we have the Omars over here. So what happened was the Omars actually had issues in Somalia and were given asylum. And what the Elmis did, they decided to flee Somalia, brutal civil war, and live in a Kenyan refugee camp from 1991 to 95. But here's the thing. See, you can look at that and say, oh, well, maybe they did need asylum. No. They were essentially rich in terms of the money. Like, at that point, the GDP there was like $187. So how did a family of like 6 come here making $187 a month? They didn't. Because her father was running a genocidal regime, and they were going to kill him and his family. So, well, yeah, I could imagine you'd want to get out of the country, but that's not what you seek asylum for. You seek asylum when you are just an innocent person being targeted by drug lords and all of these people, okay? So, and they knew that. That's why they had to change their name to Omar. So in 1995, asylum, some of them went to the United Kingdom, and then we had Ilhan come to the United States. Marriage and college, they were in North Dakota. Perjury and fraud. So in 2017, Ilhan swears under penalty of perjury she has not seen or heard from her husband since June of 2011 and has no idea how to find him. But their social media accounts are filled with years of evidence to the contrary. These social media posts are suddenly deleted. Oh, go figure. Ilhan could face a multitude of state and federal felony charges, immigration fraud, tax fraud, student loan fraud, holy crap, marriage fraud, and more. So the previous reports were her father and then their ties to Joe Hoft, or he was a far-left communist. Wait, hold on. Far-left communist Minnesota Representative Ilhan Omar's father and other Somalian war crimes perpetrators are currently living illegally in the U.S. Obviously, some of this is a little bit biased, but it's still honest information. And that's what you need to do with any articles. When they are a biased organization, you need to just read through it and then don't get wrapped up in the divide. You know what I mean? Okay, so Colonel Yusuf Abdi Allah Tokain, holy crap, I can't even say it. He was a convicted Somali war criminal who served with Ilhan Omar's father, New Omar Mohammed, members of the related clans and SRC Marxist Islamist political party. I mean, all you need to hear is that, and if she would have told the truth about this, that would be a totally different subject. If she told the truth about this and then said, you know what, I denounce all of those things, but instead she went along with this, and now it very much looks like subversion. She's even raised over $800,000 this year for her re-election for next year, already this year. It's probably up to $1 million now. That was back in April. I mean, who's giving her this money? Because there's a lot of people in Minnesota right now that are very angry because they actually trusted her. They thought that, okay, yeah, maybe she really did she played the victim and said, oh, we had terrible times in Somalia. Yeah, because of your dad. Your dad was helping the regime of these, oh my gosh, it's just insane. But oh look, and he's an Uber and Lyft driver right now. It's funny because Uber actually fired somebody about a month ago for refusing to take a college girl to an abortion clinic because he couldn't morally do it. Especially his wife was pregnant at the time, I believe, and he still brought, he wanted to bring her back and all of these things. Not like he just left her. He wasn't rude to her. She flipped out. They fired him. But we have like an actual terrorist or whatever here. And I'm not saying that the CIA was not involved in Somalia. I mean, I'm not even going to go there with all that. There's no reason to even get caught up with all that. My point is, it's all based on lies. And the point is, we are not paying attention to who we are voting for. That is my biggest thing. And I am guilty of it. I'm absolutely 100% guilty of it. I remember going to the voting polls and being like, Senate? I don't really know. Now, I feel much more informed because I know now what. But honestly, I don't think everybody should vote. If you do not know who you're voting for, you just don't go vote for somebody because your feelings. Oh, I like that person. Oh, they're pretty. Oh, they like this. Because they all lie. They're all a bunch of freaking liars. And then you end up with illegal immigrants that have lied and married their own brother to get him asylum, continuously lied about it, and not just her. I mean, let's think about all the politicians. They're making $170,000 a year, but then they magically all become millionaires. That's logically impossible without corruption being involved. So we need to be held accountable. Yes, we try to think of the good in people and say, oh yeah, they're telling the truth. But no, we need to realize they're lying. I mean, not all of them. Some people do have good intentions, and usually those people don't get voted in. That's what's sad. All of these people that have dual citizenship to a pseudo-state in the Middle East that I won't speak of because we're not supposed to speak of them. I mean, what is it, like half of Congress? They're dual citizens to that pseudo-state. They don't make decisions based on U.S. interests. They make decisions based on the best interests of that pseudo-state over there in the Middle East. That absolutely should not be allowed. So I don't want people to just take this out on her. I want people to realize that this goes on all the time. It might not be as, interesting, dramatic as this, with, oh my gosh, she married her brother, she did, but they're all doing this. That, not all of them, but so many of them on both sides of the aisle, y'all. They say one thing, then they get into Congress, they get paid off by all these lobbyists and these big corporations, these certain countries, APAC, yeah, those type of lobbying groups. And it's funny because I wouldn't doubt if this guy works for APAC, but I'll just leave that there. But like the voter turnout, whenever you look at voter turnout for local elections, it's about 11%. I had it somewhere. 11% in local elections. And your local elections should be the most important thing to you. Not the national presidential election. But that's what they have talked us into, that being the most important thing. It's not. Our state and local elections are the most important thing. As much as people don't remember, we do have states' rights. And if shit ever hit the fan, sorry, SHTF or something, having a state that is capable and not depending on the federal government and not doing all this, they're actually being held responsible for all of their things and the community being involved rather than having no idea what's actually going on except the drama that's on TV. Those are the states that aren't going to completely fail. But that's what people don't understand. They focus on the national elections and then don't realize the important things that go on in your city councils, your your counties. I have parishes. I live in Louisiana. But those are all of the things that we need to focus on. I don't remember where it was. And I mean, this is just silly. This just shows. This shows 100% that the people in our government are, who knows who they are. They could be anybody. Absolutely anybody. And if you don't do your homework, and if you just go on your feelings, or if you go on with whoever the social media tells you, oh, I want to show y'all something, then you're gonna end up screwed. Let's check out this. So also, apparently the Somalian people were threatened if they spoke about Ilhan. So, in my opinion, that seems like she's doing some type of work for the Somalian government. Because otherwise, why would they even care about her? They'd say, okay, talk about her, who cares? You know what I mean? So let's just kind of watch.
And it's pictured often with Omar and their children on their campaign
website.
Omar may be directly involved in tax, marriage, and immigration fraud. In 2002, Omar married Ahmed Hirsi in a religious ceremony. Hirsi is the father of Omar's 3 children, and it's pictured often with Omar and their children on their campaign website.
In 2016, Minnesota journalist Scott Johnson received a tip about a post from a Somali community website containing marriage certificates alleging Omar married her brother, Elmi, in February 2009 in order for him to immigrate to the U.S.
very
legally,
much.
despite the facts she'd been married to the father of her children, Hirsi, over a decade.
This clearly proved that any such second marriage might be bigamous under Minnesota law as well as fraudulent.
Later in August 2016, further investigations into legal documents and filings in Minnesota by journalist Priya Samsundar uncovered evidence supporting the allegation that Ilhan Omar married her brother, Ahmed Nursed Elmi, in 2009.
The 2009 marriage license to Elmi lists the same address as one filed for a Minnesota business 3 months later in May 2009 for a one-to-one cafe by Hirsi, the father of Omar's 3 children.
That means Ilhan Omar was living with both her real husband Hirsi while still married to her brother Elmi.
Omar has continued to deny the allegations, dismissing them as baseless rumors and fake journalists on bigot blogs despite mounting evidence.
High school record evidence also support the claim that Elmi is indeed her brother and graduated in 2003 from Arlington Senior High School in St. Paul, Minnesota.
Thunderbird. Yep, I agree.
State. He was born April 4th, 1985. The same birth date listed on Omar's 2009 marriage certificate to Elmi.
As troubling details mounted against Omar, members of the Somali community were threatened into silence through intimidation tactics.
Okay, now let's look at the intimidation tactics. I mean, there's no reason that another government that she fled would be taking her side. You know what I mean? Like
were threatened
if
into
they were so
silence through
threatened,
intimidation.
if this family, if Ilhan's family was actually threatened by the Somalian government or therefore whatever, why are they taking up for her? Somebody that fled their country because of how terrible it was? Because something's going on.
Were threatened into silence through intimidation tactics and physical violence on themselves and their families still back in Somalia. In an obtained Facebook Live video from August 18, 2016, a woman identified as the Associate Chair of the Somali American Caucus speaks. And in translation, she states in plain terms that any Somali that talks about Omar's personal life, including marriage discrepancies, is an enemy of the Somali community. Credible sources in the Somali community have stepped forward and provided Alpha News with information in exchange for anonymity, along with members of the 2003 class have also identified Elmi's father as
Nur said, Elmi Mohammed, the same man who calls himself father to Ilhan Omar.
So that's part one. Let me see. Whoever did this, somebody posted this on YouTube also, and part 2 is going to be coming out next week. But you know, the point is, we need to really look into these people that we are electing. You know, we have the power, not them, but they think they have the power, and we have become so manipulated into believing these things that we've kind of given up on. We're like, oh yeah, no. Whenever, I'm going to get into all that in a different video, to where I'm going to break down the local and state election stuff and the third party of some sort, because I understand people, you know, I voted Republican, but what people don't understand, or they seem to just block it out, is that all of these people are being paid by the same people. The same corporations are funding the left and the right and laughing while we just, y'all, this is bad, while we are divided. That's what they want. They want a dumbed down, divided population. This is some Sharia law situation. I'm not going to show the rest. It's kind of bad. But anyway, there isn't any true. Well, you know, people say that, and I do agree to an extent. But when we start standing up and holding people accountable, rather than making a Facebook group and deciding to go to Area 51, they've got like 2 million people talking about going to Area freaking 51. And what? And what? Oh, wow, you might see an alien. You might see... Come on. You're going to see some reverse engineered crafts. Okay, and then... Well, I mean, you'll probably just be shot. But, and then, how does that help? How does that help our country? It doesn't. But if those 2 million people decided, hey, why don't we go protest and make them talk about the Federal Reserve, talk about the dual citizenship, talk about the fact that AIPAC is not registered as a foreign lobby, or how about the 2 decades that we've been at war for basically a huge lie. Those are the kind of things that make a difference. Not storming Area 51. Honestly, I think that might have just been drummed up for another diversion tactic. That's just me. But anyway, guys, y'all have a wonderful day, and this will be demonetized. So I'm not even going to try to monetize this video. If you would like to support my channel, the links will be in the pinned comments below. Y'all have a wonderful day. Bye, guys.